Hey, how we doing? It's Don here. We are live. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I have a big box down here that kind of was a surprise that's going to be open. Of course, that's not the whole thing of the show, but I'll just show it. I'll probably open it like halfway through. I've taken off my label. You can see it's from Tenacious Toys on here. Well, I think you can see that. Yeah, you can see it on there. Kind of a surprise. I had no deal. Nothing worked out with Benny. This is just something out of the kindness of his heart. If you didn't see that interview, I do have a link to Benny's site, and I do have a link down there to the actual interview with Benny from Tenacious Toys. We'll talk about a bunch of topics here. I've got a whole bunch on a tablet as always. Everybody says sounds good, so we are good, Chris. Thank you. So I've got a lot of stuff going on. I'm going to talk about just a couple things first just to get them out of the way, and then we'll talk about eBay, the PayPal fees, and some of the other stuff that's going on. We're looking at some other options, so I just want to call out some of these. I posted a video about updating your actual photos, mostly for scanning images. Same comments and same things go for ones that you took bad images with an older camera. A lot of the stuff when we first started had an old camera. We didn't switch to the D5300 until maybe 2.5 or 3 years ago. Now that's all we use for photographs. I don't use phones, so just FYI. Even on my Amazon, I use the D5300 for all my Amazon photos if it's something unique or something. And then the rest obviously are tied into their database. But we are spending, it's going to cost us several, like $2,000 or $3,000. I haven't got the figure for everything yet, but it's going to cost us a couple $1,000s to fix up our listings and then to post the first bunch of listings on like Etsy and things like that too. We have stuff on Etsy now, but we're going to be upping a ton of actual new inventory up there. And I'm talking like 10, 15,000 more items on Etsy, all in the same day within an hour from each other with Sellbrite here. When I first started the journey of expanding out our stuff to more sites, I wasn't thinking about all this stuff. Again, see, everybody learns and everybody makes these mistakes. I didn't think about it when I first said, hey, let's get the free trial, that we should have probably fixed up all of our listings ahead of time and determined what we were going to do with what. I wasn't sure how Sellbrite even worked until we got into it. So, and I'm not a promotional person for Sellbrite at all. I have no connections with them whatsoever. There's many other sites or apps and things that do cross-listing. Sellbrite's one that cross-lists Etsy. It's got Walmart, Amazon, and eBay as well as your Shopify, which we have a Shopify coming for our stuff real soon now. But what I should have done before I got to that stage was fixed all my listings. You can't have, black backgrounds and stuff in the background of your Amazon photos. And I knew that. And, that's why I've only listed certain things. And it never dawned on me when I started that I sure as heck should have fixed those listings before. But, we've went through and I've done an estimate. We've got like 5,000 listings that I should update. So we're going to sink, a couple $100 every single week. It's probably going to be like $360 a week for the next 3 or 4 weeks to get all these fixed. So I'm going to be out of my free trial and really not have much done with it other than knowing at least that it does work, as I have cross-listed a few items just to test it. So, you never know, you live and you learn. I messed up on that one. I could have saved a little money and got some revenue coming back from all these mass quantities of stuff up. I did take into account the fact that I'm going to have to pay for the initial listings on Etsy and things like that. Amazon, obviously, once you've been ungated, you have to pay for the business package for $39.99. So no big deal. I've been paying that for years. So, once I get to Amazon, everything will be up. But I can't list a bunch of the items the way they are now with the quality for one, the old items, the ones we've had up for a few years. So, we're just going to sink it into there. And somebody had asked and made some comments. In fact, I had 3 or 4 people say, you're wasting a lot of time, you're wasting a lot of money. The last 3 days that we've done this, we've done it for about, every day this week I've updated photos. Every day we've done a couple hundred each day. And literally every day that I've updated photos, I've sold 2 or 3 out of each of those batches that we updated right off the bat. So, you know, it does increase your searchability. It's like a whole fresh listing when you change the photos, because what happens is the photos are stored on a different spot in a different server than your main listing part. This is true. I can prove it. Even eBay has even admitted that's the way it works. If anybody was around in June and you remember when all the photos disappeared, your one main photo was always there. So it keeps the main image, the rest go to a different server. So when I swapped out and deleted the old actual photos, it's going to pull from a whole new location and really refresh everything. And that's exactly what's happened. So every day we've sold a couple from the ones that we fixed the listing photos for. Now, I adjusted some titles. I've made a few mistakes in the titles. We have other people who type up, so mistakes happen. So the basic gist of it is it's already paid for the majority of the labor the day that it went up because of the items that sold. So, you know, I didn't think, you know, how much money and effort's going to be put into it. But again, it's paying for itself already. The key here is that all of these listings, then I can upload these extra 5,000 to my Shopify, to Etsy, to Amazon, wherever I want to sync these other listings to. So, you know, it's key not to tie everything up on eBay anymore. And, you know, I love eBay. eBay's been my start, but, you know, eBay is not my prime source. There's other places to make money for many of the other things. Amazon is primo. We're on Gate, or not on Gated. We are actually approved on Walmart. We're just working out what to put up there. We've been playing around with it. I've read all their junk on there, and there's quite a bit. So, you know, you've got to know what's going on the platform before you list. And with Sellbrite, I've been a little behind on Walmart. So I will maybe do some videos on actually Walmart, possibly, once we start that route, and just kind of tell you how it goes. So it took a long time to get approved to sell in Walmart. It's only wholesale, obviously. We do have wholesale deals that we do, so just FYI. So, you know, our journey went from just selling on the platforms and us doing everything to now bringing in an app, bringing in, you know, other things that are integrating in with this. And I see that as the future for everything online for people and resellers like us. If you can have, whether you got to pay for it or not, if you can have a central hub for all of your stuff all at the same time, it will eliminate the extra time that you're spending on it. So even though it's going to cost us, you know, hundreds of extra dollars here and there to pay for this, the extra service, it's going to well pay for itself. You know, I'm not going to shoot any estimates. I can't say it's going to make me rich or anything. That's not my goal. But, you know, at this point, I'm not going to trust any platform, any single platform. So these backup apps are the way to go, in my personal opinion. Again, I don't get a dime from Sellbrite. I don't get a dime from anybody whatsoever like that. No one sponsors me. No one gives me any money to talk about anything. Just FYI. If I talk about something, it's because it's something I like to talk about. So, you know, I see this as a viable means. Amazon, now, I've got a Patreon group, which is basically just to support this, and I just post videos and stuff up there and talk about stuff on there. I don't sell you any services other than, you know, the videos. So I'm not a marketing whiz. I'm not sitting here trying to, you know, do this. But this is the only way I can see this hub, the central hub, where you can control all your stuff. So, like, Sellbrite to me is now going to be like my main source for everything. Everything else will write through there. So when I sell an item in Sellbrite, or I mean on, say, Walmart, Sellbrite's going to pull it down from Etsy and from eBay. If it's a wholesale item and it's on Walmart, Amazon, and eBay, it'll pull it down that way too. So, you know, I've checked the best I can. I haven't sold anything through any of the items that I've got cross listings. Again, I've got very few. I didn't want to do it. I just did some test ones now. And as soon as we finish actually adjusting all of our photos, updating all of those, we're going to roll it all out. So there's a lot more involved in it than I was anticipating. Some of their instructions on it are a little bit hazy. They do have some good videos, though. There's some actually up here on YouTube. So again, I'm not trying to push this platform. Any of them could work. There's several others out there that do basically the same thing. Benny had informed me, and I looked into it. Shopify does have a version where you can have channels on the back of the house, and it'll actually adjust your listings on other platforms. So for the quantity I have and the cost, that has always been the issue. We've looked into third-party apps before, and for the amount of listings I have, it used to be structured differently. They'd charge you per listing in many of these platforms. Now there's the option with Sellbrite not to, and Sellbrite's been around for like 11 or 12 years, so it's pretty solid hardware or app environment. So, that's what I'm looking at. This is going to take us from, 50 whatever thousand listings I have on eBay site, and it's going to now spread those out to 2 more sites. So now that 50,000, like 58,700 and some odd listings. So it's going to take those and it's going to triple that. I'll have 150,000 active spots now to buy those items. So that's the plus here. And now if it's like records, I can't cross list from like Discogs. So we're going to have to think about whether we give up Discogs for the safety of not having to mess with pulling items down manually, and just roll them all through eBay, Amazon, and I don't know, maybe Etsy might be a source. I don't know if anybody's ever sold any records on Etsy. I haven't a clue on that one. This is a big learning experience for us personally. So, I'm taking a shot, and we're investing thousands of dollars into doing this, just even with labor and time to address 5,000 listings that need to be corrected for this. So, but I think this is the way to go. It would be, I think, stupid of me to actually not fix them, roll with it right now, and then hope we get them done before third quarter, beginning of third quarter. You want everything active and live. I want everything active and live, I should say, by the beginning of third quarter, in hopes that, this third quarter starts off strong like it usually does. So as long as nothing happens to the economy and everything, we should be rolling around third quarter. I want all of this 100% done and back in the full swing of slamming out new listings by, at the very, very latest, the last month of third quarter, the beginning of it. So that gives me 4 solid months to have, rolling sales without having to worry about, if I don't want to list, I won't have to list. That's the gist of it. So, I'm hoping that spreading out the listings, as I said, will alleviate some stress because I'll have more options to sell. So from the people that I've talked to, including friends that have done it, one's done it with a different platform, but he has it's the same basic principle. I think Vendio or something like that's what he uses. And so I'll be able to see what happens with this. Everybody I've talked to has had good results from cross-listing them like this. It's not, depending on what you have, obviously, it's not going to be some overnight you're already making $10,000 more a week or something like that, but it's several $1,000s at the end of the month without pushing or doing anything my friends have done. And that's pretty much most of them had the same similar results right off the bat. So it was at least enough to pay for it and make a few $100s, even for the worst case scenario of all the cross-listing that I've seen. So anyway, we'll get to some questions here. I'll try and hit some of those up here as well first. I'll try and welcome. We got Chris here, Thrift Shop Hustler. Audrey's here. She is in, well, Aaron's here too. They're both in my Patreon, actually. I'm looking forward to see what's in store. There's a lot in store with what's going on. I'm going to try and give you as much information when we start this changeover and we just start pushing out these sales. I don't know how much I'm going to want to show of specifics because, again, when they're cross-listed like this, titles and everything kind of sync and everything. I don't want any of my accounts dinged or anything from scrupulous people. People do attack, and I've had issues too with, people doing stupid stuff. I've won them all with eBay, but anyway, I'll give you what I can in information. You'll get to at least see what's going on. And if I have any hiccups with any of this software, I'll obviously tell everybody. Anyway, Chris is going to tell no one. Yeah, I'm going to send out emails on that, Chris, tonight. Well, probably not tonight. Thursdays are the one day I don't do much on social media too much because Thursdays my day starts at 5:40 in the morning. And literally I've got employees here from noon till like literally 5 or so minutes ago or 10 minutes ago. So, and multiple people here. So it's like a lot of people running around. I try to get in as much hours on those days that I can, and then I cut it off for the live show. I used to have other people here. My wife is actually, we had the flu here, so the wife is now recovering from a upper respiratory infection. She's on antibiotics. My oldest son and I were fine. The youngest did have an upper respiratory infection last week, and he missed school as well for other things too. So anyway, the wife will not be on, unfortunately. Sad, but she is doing okay. Antibiotics do work these days. Let's see here. Let's get down. Black Crystal Dice, how are you doing? I'm too busy to have no friends anyway. Oh, come on, Thrift Shop. Chris, I've seen some of your Instagram photos. You're out and doing stuff too. Come on now. Let's see. Can you touch on the new payment system? Are you sticking by PayPal for now? Good thing you brought that up, Audrey. That is honestly on my list of things to talk about. I know PayPal is doing the new returns where they're not going to credit you back the money. I worked in an industry where, charge card fees, hit you fairly well, and it can increase your expenses enough to actually affect your bottom line. I honestly do understand. I'm not in favor of PayPal, but I do understand their thought that they did process the money. I understand also, though, that it's all digital electronic and they have nothing to do other than monitoring any ones that are errored or chargebacks or something like that. So my issue with that is I could see them keeping like a 35-cent transaction fee or something, but no, nothing more than that. That's about the only thing that I think's fair. That whole thing right there has made me go out there and I've looked into and I've read up on it. I've talked to people on the new payment system. We may switch one of our accounts over to that because it's a lot of wholesale, and I think that most of the wholesale people probably have the new one or the charge card and don't really care because it's something they're going to buy either way. I've dealt with a lot of the people, constantly. It might actually get me more customers because it actually offers other ways to pay than just PayPal. So I know PayPal's kind of blocked out, but, I've got other payment methods as well myself for other sites. So I don't think that it's a bad thing, so to speak. I haven't heard much bad stuff about it, honestly, other than some people lost some business because some of the folks that buy the older stuff like I do, collectibles, don't, want to mess with too much online payments and things like that. So they're nervous or afraid to start a new payment or give their charge card out or anything like that. So I completely understand that aspect. But again, I am honestly thinking about rolling the other store over to it and see. We have 3, so I might do it on the small store, but I don't do enough business on there. That's more like test or personal items or something for the kids if I'm selling. I usually use that for lately because most of the tests I was doing are dead because of them getting rid of the 30 days. There's not much else you can test on there other than keywords, and most of the keywords these days I pretty much know for at least what I sell, again, because I've been selling the same stuff for, decades. So I don't really worry about keyword ideas or thoughts or anything anymore at all. So I'm going to give it a shot. If I like it, I'll let everybody know. If I like it, you'll know because I'm going to shout out that I'm switching over my store that I share with you here as well, too. So, maybe the new payment thing is a good thing. Maybe not. I don't know. We're going to find out really soon here because, I don't have returns. I've had one like in the last year or so. And the one that I was talking about too before was one where somebody ordered and it instantly sent them all back, and they did this to a bunch. eBay sided with me and removed all of that from my account and actually allowed me to collect the funds from that person, so they didn't even get a full refund back. They paid for all the shipping that they incurred on my account. I lost no fees. eBay recovered my fees on that. And I think that person is actually suspended right now too. So, and I did talk to 2 other people who that person did it to too. So eBay, in all honesty, has gotten better on things. But again, don't take eBay as your only source of anything. You darn well better broadcast yourself out there and put yourself out on as many sites as you can humanly possibly get out there to safely. Don't risk yourself. Don't spread yourself too thin. Do them in a stage. Along with that, you better start setting up your listings from the start instead of getting in the situation where we are, where we're going to have to sink a lot of money into fixing the listings to actually be able to put them on other sites. If you don't know, Amazon has to have white backgrounds. 85% of the image that you post on Amazon has to be of the actual item, and there can be nothing else in that image besides that 85% of the image being that item. The rest of it is white and only white. Now, I know you're going to see a few here and a few there that may not meet that, but that is their standard, and they do pull them down all the time. Even if you've got bad photos for Amazon, they will give you a ding. It'll say, oh shoot, what does it say? It gives you a little yellow. It's in yellow, and sometimes it'll actually flag them and it'll deactivate them. So when you go to do your add or items to the inventory, you're going to see a list down there on the right side in your Amazon listing section page, and it's going to say you have inactive or active and inactive listings, and I think some pending, and I think I had last time I looked. They do pull stuff off on you. Just keep that in mind for quality issues on the photos if you're selling and taking your own photos. Now, I always try to use Amazon's database images for everything, except obviously in the antiques and collectibles and records. I have to use mine. So we've gotten very careful on how we photograph, what we list, how we edit them when they're going up. So again, that's why we're investing all this money. I'm going to have thousands into it. No exaggeration. Let's move on. Let's see what we got. Let's see here. Gregan, how are you doing? Teresa, how are we doing? There's Junk Data Girl. Welcome. Hey, Cato Creek, how are you doing? Orbital Search Group, really enjoy your videos. Thanks for always great info. Thank you as well, Bill. I made it for live. Glad to have you, Junk Data Girl. Diane0618, hey everyone. Let's see, Hustle and Grind, Calgary. I have been to Calgary, and I know you've been on here many times too, so welcome back. Anthony, how are you doing? Let me slide down here. What's the benefit of having a store on eBay? I'm thinking about switching over to one. I'm an above average seller, says eBay. You get cheaper rates. That's like one of the best things with having a store. For us, we have several stores, which actually lowers our rates even farther. So a store helps you with the fees, basically. It actually lowers some of your final value fees in certain areas as well, too. So, it's cheaper for you. Look at your financials on that. I actually have a video just on figuring out when it goes from having a store, or single items to having a store. It's in my how-to playlist if you're interested. Let's see here. How's Sellbrite so far? It's Chris. It's been a long process. I haven't done as much on Sellbrite. We checked it out. It all does work. I'm probably already answered that, but we'll just touch on it real quick again. Again, I'm fixing up the photo. So once I get that, I'm figuring 2 more weeks to fix up the extra 4,500 left photos that we need to fix, or listings, not photos, listings in general. So once that's up, I'll be able to cross-list everything, and I'll tell you full-fledged every ins and outs on it. It's a lot more involved than I thought. That's what I'll say about it. I'm not complaining, because once it's up and ready, it's done, and you can list from Sellbrite. You can create your listings in Sellbrite and then have it go to the other sites. So, I won't have to go through this again. I'll just do one correct listing on Sellbrite, on the platform, and then I'm done. There's a couple other of my subscribers that are actually doing Sellbrite now, too. They just started it. So I'll have some feedback from a couple other people. Again, I get not a single dime from Sellbrite at all. I don't even have an affiliate link. They will give me one if somebody's interested, but I don't even have that. So I'm just doing it for my own personal benefit to broadcast our business as far out as we can go. So how you doing, Bolorama? Yeah, you can hit me up. My schedule, just hit me up. Drop me a line if you wish, and we can go from there. Also, is lucite hard plastic, almost acrylic? Lucite's, yeah, it's like an acrylic plastic. I don't know the technical. Lucite does very well, though. My wife buys the purses quite often. She finds, I don't know how she always does it, but that's one thing she does find a lot of is purses. At all these oddball places. Lucite we pick up sometimes at the flea market. She got a real nice, I couldn't tell you what she did with it, but she got one for $35 the other day. It's more than I'm like, when she told me she paid $35, I'm like, that's a little high. But she brought it home, and it's like a $250 lucite purse. It's really fantastic. It's like an atomic pattern on it. It's something unique. She may end up just keeping it because it's a really neat piece. We've got a lot of vintage clothing and stuff. Hey, Annie, how you doing, Annie? Will there be a lot of manual work with Sellbrite, changing things up for the different fields on different platforms, like tags, for example? As I said, I haven't gotten into the whole in-depth yet. We just did enough to see if it's going to work. I didn't want to do a bunch of stuff and find out it's the wrong platform and it's not going to do what I want it to do. So as soon as we finish up these listings, I'm going to roll full steam. We're going to end up, we're already out of the free 14-day trial. I wish they gave you like a 30-day trial. That's one of my big thinks on that. I wouldn't say most average people, well, I can't do it in 14 days. Maybe an average person with a lot less items could do it. If you got a couple hundred, it might be worth it. It depends on your volume too. So I'll let you know for sure, Annie, though, as I said, I'll really get into it. Hey, Jennifer, how are you doing? Felicia. Check out Listing Mirror. They have a compare feature for other similar service. I am learning heavily towards Sellbrite for my business. Yeah, I looked at some of the sites too. I looked into all of them. Sellbrite is different than the other ones. I'm going to give you the biggest reason that I picked Sellbrite over the other ones. Let's just say all the other platforms work. Every one of the platforms does the exact same thing. What Sellbrite does, which is different, is they only charge you for the items that sell. They do not charge you for the amount of listings you have. It may be different for somebody else. It may be cheaper for somebody else to go to a different site if they're only going to have a certain amount of listings. But if you're charging me by the amount of listings, and I've got 60,000 listings, it's a huge amount of fee. That's why I say that the fees originally, when we looked into these third-party apps, used to be $1,500 plus for 20,000 listings. So I'm looking at like $3,000 possibly if I was doing it that way with some of the other services. With Sellbrite, I only pay for the listings that actually sell, and they offer different packages. So if you hit over a certain amount, you just up the package. So you don't have to do it until you actually need to up the package, which will increase your fees, obviously, to them. So that's what I looked at. And I looked at like 12 different sites that did this. I went over, that was one of my biggest factors, that it was tied with length of doing their app. So there's other apps out there that are new that have only been doing this for a year or two. You know, they're integrated, but new startups, you know, tech-wise, always have issues. And I've heard horror stories of some of the other sites out here that have issues. So I stay away from all those newbies and stuff until I have viable proof that the site works. I've got other people I know that have used Sellbrite and used some of the other ones, so I've seen it in action, or at least I've watched it pull items down on its own and stuff. So I know that the technology is there. They're all integrated. They all have permits and, you know, agreements with these sites to do it. Sellbrite has a deal with eBay and Amazon and Etsy, the whole works. So it's all legit. There's no, you know, you have to give them permission, of course, to a third-party app, and that's in your settings if you didn't know that. It'll create and do all that for you through the links there. So it's not something you have to do, but you can do it manually too. So I looked into that, all that aspect of it. Sellbrite had the best feature. They've been around for 11 years. And again, I don't get a dime. I just want to keep saying this because I don't get a dime from Sellbrite. It has nothing to do with Sellbrite. This is all for the benefit of my business. I don't care what Sellbrite does. I don't care who they are. I'm not interested in anything from them. I'm not asking for anything from them. I just want my business to grow. And Sellbrite honestly seems to be the best choice. If it's not, and it, pardon me, sucks, I sure as heck am going to let everybody know, and I'll do a review, which I don't usually do, or I don't think I've ever done a review, and tell you what I think in just a video about Sellbrite. So, you know, I preach that you should get yourself out there. So I'm going as far as I can go and spending the dough on it. And I'm going to let you know honestly what happens with this. If I bust it and I spend a ton of money and I get nothing back out of it, I'm going to tell you I blew it. It was a mistake to do it. But I don't see that's going to happen. I can't see it. We're already selling on Amazon now. You know, I've got revenue from Amazon. I've got revenue from Etsy as well as other sites. I just can't imagine, you know, this being any, you know, detriment to my business. You know, we're selling now on all those platforms. I know how the platforms work. We've been on them for a long time. Amazon we've been on for a monster long time. It's eBay I've been on the longest, and Amazon was the second. Etsy was next after that. So, you know, and you can sell a lot of stuff on those platforms. You know, it's just so much stuff to sell. You know that I sell vintage, and that does very well on Etsy. The trade cards and the graphics and the scraps and the art stuff. So, you know, I'm a shoo-in for those areas, and I've got 30,000 items like that are up right now, not counting all the new stuff. You know, so when I looked into that, in as well, Sellbrite, the third rung on there is that multiple people can list at the exact same time without having any issues of using files or anything like that. So if I've got 5 laptops up, which is usually what we have if it's a full staff on here, there's 5 laptops running, and then my unit's running, my tower's running as well too. So there's 6 people possibly listing at one specific time. So it's essential that I can do that, so I'm not having to worry about staggering schedules. There are some days now we have switched people off, so usually on the weekends now, people don't work here too much. Maybe only one person or 2 people are working over the weekend. My kids work. I don't count that because they're always here anyway. So just you have to take all that into consideration. So hopefully Sellbrite, and I'm literally crossing my fingers because this could increase our sales 30-40% possibly right off the bat in the first 30 days. From some of the figures that I've seen. You know, again, this is potluck. It may not work. I may be just blowing money, but let's go back over here to the chat. I don't want to miss anything. I'm going to try to get as many questions as I can today. Yeah, Annie's talking about the lucite. Is usually a high quality subset of acrylic. Good explanation. I didn't even know that far of it. I know it's like an acrylic plastic mix. You can actually cast lucite basically at your house. And there's actually videos on YouTube of people doing it where they encase coins and seashells and things like that. Those actually sell too for paperweights, if you didn't know that. There are people who make paperweights on the beach. I lived in Flagler Beach in Florida for a while. We lived on the beach. Frida Zamba was the world-class surfer. We used to run into her. I lived like 3 blocks from the pier out there. So in Flagler Beach, right off of A1A. There was shops up there that literally made, didn't think anything of it until recently, that made like little seashell paperweights and little desk things out of lucite. And they made a lot of money doing it because they actually made it at their place as opposed to buying it from a manufacturer. And they're touristy items. They were getting $15-20 a pop for these things that are, 50 cents maybe worth of, lucite. You can do a whole bunch all at once. It's just dirt cheap anyway. Hey, Rich, how are you doing? I got Rich Sanders in here. Tara Lee is here. Let's see here. Marie, how are you doing? 100% I'm going to let everybody know on Sellbrite. So, scaling options is the best thing. I'm not going to pay. Well, thank you, Bolarama. I appreciate the super chat there. I will be looking at emails tomorrow. As I said, if you missed the beginning, this is usually my long day. I usually do 15 or 16 hours every Thursday. Every Thursday, I start my day at 5:40 in the morning, and I don't stop all day long. So this is literally rolling into here. When I'm off here, I've still got some phone calls to make, and I've got a project in the works as well that I have to take care of still partially tonight. So. Let me go up a little bit because I think I just missed. But again, thank you, Bolarama. Yeah, my feed's terrible. It only showed a little screen, and now I'm like way down. So, and I think I'm still like off. Wife's not here. She would have corrected this for us. So, yeah, Annie's. I don't want to miss anybody here. I think I already missed somebody that soon. Okay, here we are. Shelly, welcome. Ben to Galveston. My wife's got many relatives in Galveston. SG, what's the cost of Sellbrite? We're paying, it's $129 if you do it a year in advance. So if you're paying, a year, sign up for a year deal. And then it's $149, at least for the package we're doing. We just started with one. I'm not going to list every item to start with. We'll roll in a big bunch of several thousand right off the bat. And then see how it goes. And if we sell a bunch through there, obviously, we're going to have to raise the amount. Because I think we picked like the second or third highest one. Again, start off and be safe with it. Start rolling in, roll out, make sure it's working, and go from there. I know it works. We tested some listings. It works. We're fixing the other listings, and we're going to roll from there. So I will let you know on that, too, on the API, Annie. Somebody else had mentioned that they had talked to somebody. I don't know myself, so I don't want to say yes or no on that yet. I think you could have someone customize shop I to streamline your high volume floor fill. I would probably pay that at this point, honestly. We've been looking into that just because it's a daunting task to sit there and know you have to fix 5,000 listings. Me and the wife sat down here, and I was really frustrated for the first time in a long time over that thought, just because they're already up. I knew that we should have probably done a few here and a few there, and we procrastinated. So it kind of caught me a little bit off guard, I guess. I was a little frustrated. I'm done with the frustration now. We're just excited now because, we're just going to throw some money at it. Again, this is something I wouldn't be able to do this on myself. If I didn't have employees, I'd probably be dead in the water. But yeah, I will look into that. Thank you, Annie. In fact, why don't I write that down? Hang on, let me write that down. I'm a stickler for taking notes. Okay, just so I come back to that. Yeah, Felicia, I apologize that my pronunciation sometimes is terrible. Charles, yeah, let me put that down. It's been done for a while, my Christmas ornament video. Let me just tell you why I haven't put it up yet. I was literally thinking about doing another channel, and I know I don't want to scare anybody by saying that, about stuff that you can make to sell only because I know there's a lot of people, if I post them up here, seem to be discouraged, and it gets terrible views, and sometimes I get comments, this is supposed to be about reselling, not making stuff. So I've been kind of fighting with that one there. I don't want to kill time on this channel by doing something like that. But, you know, the wife actually does a lot of crafts, and one of my kids does too, so it wouldn't always have to be me doing something was part of the aspect of it there. And it's stuff that I usually do on the side, maybe like casting and stuff. It's the only reason I haven't posted it yet. As I said, it's been done for weeks now. I've got like 7 or 8 videos that have been done for a while that I haven't touched yet. They're just sitting there. So anyway, let me address one more issue here, because I got a real nasty email from somebody on a video saying that I put subliminal images into there, and they're never watching my videos again because of this. And another video, the one I posted up yesterday or early this morning, I think early this morning, has these blips in it too. I have nothing in my videos, nothing whatsoever. So, and I went back frame by frame on the rendered video, not the hard straight data from my cam or anything like that. The hard actual rendered copy, the one that I used to upload, doesn't have those in there. If you look at the video from this morning, it has the blip of my title screen like in random spots throughout it. Now, I even actually deleted the first copy of it. I didn't post it public. I did it unsearchable to start with. And it had those blips, so I deleted that version of it. I uploaded it again. It had blips in different spots. I'm dumbfounded. Somebody else, I even put a note in there, please tell me if you know how to stop this. Somebody else had said they had seen that in several other resellers' videos as well, too. So it is not anything I'm doing. I don't know what to do about it. I've already sent Amazon, or not Amazon. Oh, geez, I got Amazon in my head today. I did a lot of Amazon, I'm sorry. But YouTube a note about it. I don't know how long it'll take to get an answer, but I don't know what else to say on the issue if it's popping in there. I can't constantly upload a video and still have it do that. I know it's not all the time, but, you know, I've had several nasty messages, including one that's not going to watch me because I'm putting these subliminal messages in there. I am doing nothing of the sort in any way, shape, or form. So even, I feel weird even coming out and saying this, but there's nothing that I've done. And again, it's not in my hard rendered copy of the video. So, and again, I went frame by frame because I wrote down all the times that it happened, send a copy of that as well to YouTube. You know, I've checked on everything on this end. The only other thing that, you know, I thought originally was that maybe it was sent through Wi-Fi and there was some interruption or something. So I ran it through a hardwired laptop and it's still there. So anyway, I'm hoping to get an answer on that. I don't know if there's something else going on, but it's nothing from my point. It leaves my location through my, you know, my internet literally correct. So I don't know what's going on. Where are we? Where are we? I am sorry. The wife's not here. She tries to keep us in line. Yeah, Annie's talking about you're going to have to be careful on unscrupulous folks if you put your stuff on Shopify. I know that, and I had thought about that a lot. But Benny, in fact, we got a big box to open up here. Benny from Tenacious Toys does his shop on there, and he's done it for 15 years. So I'm going to listen to him on this one. I looked into it a lot as well. We're right on the cusp of having all this done. We've already been in conversations with people, and I've got a tech degree, so I do know a lot. I wouldn't want to, you know, do anything on my own just because of my time. So I've got a friend who might help me a little bit on stuff, and I wrote down the API about that too, Annie, because I never even thought about asking him on that. It's somebody I went to college with who earned. He's got a BS in IT stuff, so I've got an AS in IT and decided to go for a BA in something else. So anyway, hey Sue, how are you doing? I got you. I think I sent you another message after that too. So I'll have everything out in the morning for you too, Sue. Yeah, sick is going around. Me and my oldest didn't get much of it at all, and I'm already fine. So I was down for like a day and a half. Hey, Tina, how are you doing? Hello, Rick. Rick Duke, how are you doing? Tommy Z. Very much appreciate your work that you're sharing. Well, thank you very kindly. I appreciate that. What other bank in the world would let you do a wire transfer, have the receiver cancel it, then the bank gives you back the fees for 2 transfers? Yeah, I said that, Bolo. I'm not upset with them keeping something from the fee if you're talking about PayPal. I can get that. My PayPal card, we have obviously a business card through PayPal as well. We've actually got a couple, but as a business, the wife and I can even have my kids have their own card through our account, all tied to the same account. I don't know if you know that. But we've had our number stolen a couple of times. Once at Taco Bell, so I never use a card ever at Taco Bell here anymore, where they've charged money to my card. PayPal caught it quicker than my bank has caught one of those. So, and I've got a good bank. Not only did they catch it, they immediately, as soon as I talked to them on the phone, fixed the issue, mailed out a card, and refunded me the money pending the investigation. And they covered everything. So PayPal's good on some things. I don't agree with all the fees. I don't agree with them siding sometimes with the actual buyer in certain issues when it's a scam. I don't like the fact that a person can go buy something on eBay and then get their money back from PayPal, and there's really nothing eBay can do about that technically. I understand why they're going over to their own payment system, because that would get rid of all of that. It'd be more like on the lines of Amazon or Walmart, because they both have basically the same setup. Amazon and Walmart have the same setup, if you didn't know. It's basically the same thing. Hey, Nevermore, how are you doing, John? Ambient Vibes, you don't need Amazon images if you're doing RA. You do if the item is not up, Ambient Vibes. If there is not one of those items up, you cannot list it without a photo. So, and I list items whether there's a listing of it or not. If I'm ungated in it, I will make a listing up myself of whatever the item is. I don't worry about that anymore. Unless it's in like shoes or something, I won't touch it. There's a few toys that I have permission to sell in, but I'm playing it safe and not doing any new listings on a couple of them, just because they're big companies, and if I get gated on there, it's going to take a little ding to my Christmas sales because they're toys. So, anyway. Let's pop on down here. The Crazy Card, how are you doing? Yeah, listing-wise, John's listing there. I've got a lot to list. We weren't going to go out and do a haul and get anything. And the other day I went out and ended up getting a whole stack of sheet music. Real nice ones, too. I spent just over $5. It was like $5 in tax. One of the sheet music's in there is the Marx Brothers, and it's like the title sheet. It's like the best Marx Brothers you can get, and I always sell that one for $50. So right off the bat, I got my money back on that one. And there's a second Marx Brothers. I've got Abbott and Costello one in there too. Now they're not high dollars, but this one's a good one because it's actually meets Frankenstein. It's one of the songs from there, and it's got Frankenstein on the cover. So that one's like a $75 one. That was $5. And then I went to a sale, and I posted a photo of this on Instagram, and I got a Hop Bitters card, and it's a flag card. This is one that I've had a couple of before. I paid $10 for this too, mind you. It books at over $400. The last one I sold, I got $450 for this, and I wasn't going to go. I said I wasn't going to do it. I'm not going to go haul anymore. I've got more than I could do anything with at this point. And literally, I said, let me do it. Let me go. I said, the time I don't go is the time that somebody has something killer, and I'm so glad I went. There's 2 cards that I got a loan that are going to get me $1,500 basically. So I'm so glad, because this is a big chunk. This is the biggest haul, and it's just a small stack. Well, I shouldn't say small. It's almost 2 inches tall of cards. And, it's going to make me the most I've made off of a deal in probably the last 30 days all at once right here. So, I already put one up just to get my money back out of my purchase, like I say I always do, which is what I do. So, yeah, I saw your bike up there, John. Let me see here. I really enjoy your videos. I have learned so much. Well, thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. Hey, Duncan, how are you doing? My spider pal. Now, Duncan. I'm not a big spider fan. I was bit. Now, I know most of you probably heard this, but I was bit by a brown recluse several times. I have some pancreatic issues and have some digestive issues because of it. I've got some permanent issues, let's just say, from a spider, a little tiny spider. I was bedridden for 2 months because of it, and it was just a totally awful experience. It's probably one of the worst ones in my life. And I still have issues. I've got some my dog's running around. I've got some major scars where my skin was pretty much necrotic. And anyway, I won't get into that. I'm not a big spider person anymore. Let's just say that. Well, thank you, Nevermore. If you can hit the like button, yeah, I'm terrible on calling that stuff out. I'm not a big promoter. I just get into my groove here and talk about the stuff. So, thanks on that call out. Creative business, how you doing? Where is Marky? Marky has a upper respiratory infection. The kids, one of my sons went to where was he? Shoot, I think they were in. Geez, he went out of town. I can't remember where he went. He went to the national drill team meet. I think they were at Fort Knox, maybe. And he came back from there with a horrible case of the flu. And then from there, it turned into upper respiratory infection with my youngest. He's the one with the heart issue. He missed 4 days of school last week. The wife got sick right after that. I got it for a day and a half, and then my oldest got it for just a day or so, too. And two of us have an upper respiratory infection from that. So, let's see here. So Marky will not be on if that. Dominic, I said it right today. I'm sorry again. Love the show. Thank you very kindly. Yeah, Peanuts are you either like them or you don't. I remember the cartoons on TV when I was a child, and I liked some of I liked the specials. I didn't like the series or reading the comics or anything like that. I liked the specials. I was like 7 or 8 when I saw It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I always liked the voice of the adults. I'm not going to recreate it for you. I think you all know what it sounds like. Yeah, we do very well with it, Dominic, as well, too. So I fully get you there. And thank you as well, Creative Business. Oh, thanks, everybody. Orbital Search Group. 3D Sellers 2. If that's another one of the ones that broadcasted, I looked at every one that was major that's been around. If you're talking about like a Sellbrite, third-party alternative, I've looked at them. A dozen was about as many as I wanted to look at. I looked at all the consumer guides online that list you the top like 10, 15. I looked at like 5 or 6 sites, and PCBytes.com, and there's there's like three pages like that I always look at, and I combined all the lists together, and then I hit all the ones off that list. That's what I did. I literally did exactly what I would do if I was taking a college class for research, and did it as in depth as I could, and wrote down the different aspects that I needed, and did a little chart on which one's the best one, the pricing, and the whole works. And Sellbrite's the one. So I'm done looking at this point. If something comes along later on, I'll think about it then. But as of right now, I'm going with what we got, I think. Hey, Marikek, how are you doing? In my book, for my business, Sellbrite is very affordable. Felicia's has the same. I think you were the one that maybe said that you were using it too. I've talked to 3 or 4 people now that have it, including a friend that's local. So we both started at the same time. So I'll just give you that. We said, let's give it a shot. Let's see what it does for our business. So, I had a couple other friends. We're trying to get 5 people to do it together, just so we'd have a group of working people. So if one person figures out something, another one and all that, but the other one's kind of backed out at the last minute. So, anyway. So this show, you're an hour early now, Duncan. It's still the same time. That clock doesn't mean anything. Part-time pickers. Any good advice for someone who wants to get into postcards? My only knowledge is watching a few of your videos on them. Watch a lot of videos and do a lot of comp searches on just random things in the postcard. Just type in postcard in the postcard section. Click highest first. Only look at solds, and then have another window open up where you're looking at everything, solds and not solds, and kind of give you an idea on what's going to sell on that. Big towns don't sell, like Los Angeles, New York. I mean, for the most part, like 95% of every New York card or every San Francisco or Los Angeles or Dallas card doesn't go for much. You'll have to get the gist on what types are going to go for money. It's going to take you time. That's what I can tell you. It's going to take you time. There's been folks watching me who never were into postcards. And I'm not bragging about myself, so God knows I don't want anybody to come out and hit me up for that. Somebody probably will, but they've been doing it now with me, and watching this, and we've been talking, and I help them answer questions and stuff on my Facebook or Patreon mostly nowadays. And now they sell postcards. That's one of their best areas to sell in. And there's several people that now have delved into it. You've got to be wanting it, and you've got to be dedicated, because they spend like 12-hour days all the time. But they've built up sales like more quickly doing paper and postcards than they have with clothing. So, and I'm not saying you can't make a ton of money in clothing, because there's people that make a living off clothing, no problem. But as it gets tighter and tighter, it's going to get worse and worse for those folks, in my opinion, if you don't branch out. My dog is here, and I've got hair floating. Sorry. I've got an itch. So, you got to keep that in consideration. Up here in Ohio, where I live, there are not enough thrift stores to survive selling clothing. Savers, both of the Savers went under. I've said this before. Goodwill scans. They send the high-end stuff to online auctions or to an upscale site. Salvation Army scans. So books are pretty much done there. All that kind of stuff. I just don't have the sourcing abilities at thrift stores anymore at all. I've pretty much given up on thrift stores, and the prices have gotten outrageous around here. I can spend a couple more bucks and get a shirt brand new. I'm not going to make any money. I'm not going to do $10 shirts. I'm not going to do, $12 on a shirt when I can do $8 on a card that's never going to have a chance in coming back. And the cards I pay nothing for. I'm paying a penny, a nickel, a dime for a card, whatever kind of card, or a piece of paper, or a magazine, or whatever. Magazines I pay $1, records I pay $1. So if I'm selling those that I pay $1 for it, and I'm getting a $10 return, I'm coming far out ahead than if I spend $2 on a shirt, I sell it for $9, or let's say $12. You got to do free shipping on clothing for the most part to be even relevant nowadays. So it's just not practical for me to even want to source the clothing. There's a list time is longer, photo time is longer, the mannequins, distract to it. The returns are higher. There's people that love clothing. There's nothing wrong with it. I did it for a couple years, and we got into this, full time doing clothing, as it carried us over quicker to get into it. But once I figured out that, I'm working harder than I would if I did paper and hired somebody, I haven't looked back. It's a given. I would never go back to what I was before. I would never be selling wholesale items. I would never be ungated if I didn't go this route. I just wouldn't have messed with it. It just wouldn't have happened. So, look at the big picture. That's the case, I guess. Let's go back to some questions. I know I'm terrible on getting to all the questions. Let me see here. Hopefully that gives you a little thought on that, part-time pickers. Again, I'll give you a thumbs up or thumbs down on it. I have nothing to gain from saying it either way. Let's see here. Welcome, Mark Tatum. We've got a bigwig on here. He's got over 100,000. If you didn't know, that's what that check means. He has been certified or authenticated, I guess. He uses Sellbrite. They just announced they were bought by GoDaddy today. That seems like it might be a good thing and help them expand. Well, I did not know that. I did not see that. Let me write that down. I'm going to have to look into that. That may be a good thing for Sellbrite. I said Sellbrite is a viable company. I do not do the GoDaddy or any of those online accounting things. I do not do that. I do not trust any of your information stored online is bad. So that would be a problem for me if that's the case. I know, obviously, I'm storing my listings online, but I can have a hard copy as well, or a downloaded copy, I should say. Let's see here. There's so many tax breaks for using your kids. Hang on, my feed just dropped. I just lost that. Where are we? Well, thanks, Jake the Snake. I appreciate the super chat very kindly. If my wife was down here, she'd like the name. I'm the old school wrestling days. Jake the Snake, if you don't know, has his own action figure. I think we probably have one laying around here somewhere, too. Let me go back up there. But again, I appreciate the super chat. That does help support the channel. Geez, I'm way off now. My feed bounces all over the place. It's done this since I've been on here. Here we go. I'm sorry. Chris, there are so many tax breaks for using your kids as employees. There's not as many tax breaks. The kids are just a regular employee for us, in all honesty. I get the stack of paperwork just like any other person there is. I don't take any other breaks other than the fact they live here. You know, the standard breaks is having kids, I guess you could say. So they're just regular employees at this point. My oldest is an adult anyway, so, you know. Let's see here. Hang on just a second. Teresa, what about cross-selling on Poshmark or Letgo? I don't do clothing. I did Poshmark. I won't do it again. It's not my thing. So I wouldn't deal with that. I don't think that is an option on there. I don't do Letgo either. Not into any of that. We're on 9 sites and 9 platforms. And with doing the Sellbrite, it's going to give us a 10th source of revenue, which would be our own personal store. So that's where we're going. So that'll be our 10th one. I don't think I can handle another one for a while until we get this all settled and I'm comfortable with Sellbrite and my own Shopify store as well too. Obviously Shopify, I'm going to be lowering my fees from selling items on eBay. And I do have a steady following on eBay. So, you know, it might be easier and more practical to get them to go to my store. And they may be more willing to do it if I only list certain things on Shopify versus, you know, my own Shopify store versus doing them first on eBay or something. So Shopify may be my main source for the ones that I have usual buyers that I just set a price and they never argue and buy it. My repeat customer rate now is almost up to 30%. I know there's a couple in my Patreon group that's up in the 40%. So that means 4 out of 10 things being sold is being sold from somebody who's already bought from them before. With me, 3 out of every 10 items that are bought or sales, it's somebody who's already bought from me. That's a huge increase and a huge plus. I was at 24%. We're now just under 30%. We've been hitting the same categories and niches, and that's the only way to do this. You cannot do this in clothing. You cannot do it in books. You cannot do it in regular hot goods, kitchen, any of that kind of stuff. You can't do this repeat business unless, like, it's a part or something, or, geez, I don't even know if you could do it with that. But the stuff that we sell, not us per se in general, but anybody who sells this kind of vintage stuff, repeat customers are a given. You know, you can see that total in your PayPal account, too, if you wonder how to see that. I got it in my Patreon. There's actually a video in my Patreon talking about how to get that. So, FYI. Where are we? I would like to make lucite paperweights with Hot Wheels. There is somebody who does that now, John. Geez. I'm not going to be able to think of it. I'll have to ask my son on that because he likes the lucite aspect of it, too. And it's somebody who does the restoration, I think, on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. Have to look into that. If I can remember who that is or find it for my son, I'll drop you a line on that. Oh, John, too, I'm going to be sending out the project we had talked about, too. Keep it on the download, too, but I'm going to be sending out that info for you tomorrow morning. It's a done deal now. It's already done. Friday for Duncan. Geez, Duncan. Yeah, I guess with the difference in time, it's not that far off. Jennifer, how's the son doing? My son goes back for tests next month, so we're a little apprehensive just because when he went to the doctor last week, he was like 82%, and he was down to 72% at one time, and then he's been down to like 52%. That means that 52% back then of every heartbeat he has was doubled. The other day in the office, it was like 82% when we took him in for the upper respiratory infection. It could just be related to him being nervous and sick. It's still not a good thing when there's that much. So his heart, for your 100 heartbeats, my son's heart was beating 182 times for every 100 that your heart beats. So, you know, we're looking at the other options here too. We hope to have a little bit more information. You know, we're being hopeful and optimistic at this point from what we've heard so far. There could be the need to go in there and zap his heart while it's beating with a laser. Basically, it would kill a section of his heart while he's awake. Unfortunately, we're not looking for this. This is like the last result or chance, because they put a catheter in through your leg. We've seen, you know, they went into the whole deal. We sat there and we talked about it. So we've spent some time in some doctor's offices, let's say. My son goes to an electrophysiologist. It's a pediatric electrophysiologist. There's like 102 of them in the country, the whole country, which is, you know, a shocker. I didn't even know what electrophysiologist was before this. He's also got a pediatric cardiologist, too. The bills have been hitting, so let me tell you what they're oh my God, I have not seen bills like this. My oldest son was in neonatal for like 11 days. And my youngest was in for, I think, 6, and he had to be resuscitated. And those bills were, luckily, since their birth, the insurance at the time covered most of it. Even what it didn't cover, though, was horrendous. This is just like the biggest bill I've ever seen in my life. Just FYI, it's going to rival a college degree. Let's just put it that way. So anyway, we're just going to muddle through it. Can't tell you much of an update other than that. We hope to know something else next month. Moronic pest. I'm not going to try and pronounce that. I'll just take your word on it, which is pure acrylic polymer. I used to make it in a lab when I was a chemist. Yeah, my son actually was going for chemical engineering, my oldest. He switched it to a chemist because one of the professors hooked him up with some other program, and they're working with him, and he's not going to lose anything from it, and he'll have more options, and he won't have to do a internship like 8-hour drive away or more. So he's got a provisional patent that was issued, and he's got a utility patent going, and he's still kind of looking into that because he's got a friend now that's helping him, and you know, he had to make up some. Well, I helped him. We made up some confidentiality agreements and things like that too. So anyway, he's sticking around here more, going as a chemist. So anyway, Barb from sunny California. I spent some time in Whittier. I'm sure you probably know. There goes my feet again. Hang on, folks. I hate YouTube some days. Yeah, but I spent some time in Whittier. I worked in Whittier, California for a little while. How you doing from North Carolina, Ollie's place? Wow, 5K. I thought 2K was a lot. If you're talking about listings, we have almost 60,000 listings right now. It's like, I don't know, 57 or 58,000 listings right now. We actually have a couple thousand that are not active right now that we ended just to address and fix some issues. We're going to get rid of a few of them and not cross-list them too. So on top of the 5,000 that I need to fix, we got another, say, 1,500 to 1,800 that I'm going to figure out whether we're going to delete them and not worry about them or fix them up as well, too. And then, of course, we've got the other 58,000 listings. Hey, Scott, how are you doing? There's Bearded Picker out there. I just lost my train here. Bearded Picker out here. If you haven't checked him out, Scott's a real good guy. If you didn't hear Scott, I'll get that project stuff to you first thing in the morning. Again, keep it on the down low. Don't discuss it open. FYI. I'll get everybody the info tomorrow, Scott, too. Everybody will have it first thing in the morning, I hope. I find it funny when people think they should tell you how to run your own channel. I get that all the time. I talked about this on Scott's show, and he's got a real good show, too. I like his group chat. When somebody leaves you this real long, almost a manifesto about something wrong with you or your channel, and then I just love the fact that I'll start to read it, and I'll be like a couple words into it, realize it's going bad. I'll just delete it. I don't mess with any of that anymore. I don't just allow everything to go live on my feed either, because I've had cases where some nasty stuff was put up there, and I don't like that, and I'm not going to allow that up on there either. So I do spend the time, or have somebody else spend the time to at least approve every one of those. I don't approve every one, but I'll do try to go back and answer most of them too. Where are we? Okay. Let's see. Felicia, do it. Stuff we can make. There is an audience for it. Yeah, I'm just was going on about whether I should do the second site or not, only because I don't want to distract the time, and I don't want to have people here think I'm, abandoning the channel. This is still my love of life for doing this. I mean, I love reselling. I don't care what anybody says about the industry or the business. I'm just motivated in this field, honestly. Yeah, let's not go to Alex Jones now there, Chris. Let's keep politics and people out of it like that. I get you, though. Yeah, Rick Dupe. No subliminal images in mine. I don't know what the heck they're there for. Sometimes your audio glitches out. Not going to say aliens are coming. They may be coming, but, that may not be the proof of them coming. Psycho YouTube viewers. Yes, I get some pretty awful emails. We get a good laugh out of them, actually. There's sometimes that I'll have to keep them, and we've printed them up and stuff. I always thought about putting a book together of that, because I've got like a whole book's worth of things that you shouldn't be legally allowed to sell on eBay, and I printed off like pages and pages, like human organs and stuff like that. And I always said I was going to put a book together. The only reason I probably haven't done it is because I don't want to issue with eBay, because some of the items they should have caught long before this. You know, this is from years. I've got like 10 years of oddball stuff from eBay, just because I'm crazy like that. I do stupid stuff like that, so I'd love to see them make it up. Yeah, we're still going back and forth. Maybe I'll put out a survey here on this channel and see if people would be interested in seeing some of the other stuff there and go from there. Flatlanders, yeah, there you go. What if YouTube was embedding them live to people as a form of advertising that we were unaware of? Yeah, if you ever watch Futurama, they actually go into stuff like that too, where Fry's getting these dreams of underwear, and it turns out it was an ad that they broadcast to your subconscious. I like Futurama, if you know what that is, anybody out there. Hauptmann, how are you doing? Oh my God, yeah, that's funny though, yeah. You know, I'm just me, so I'm not... This is what I do. Let me check the time here, because I want to open this box up here. Yeah, well, I'm farther past than I thought I'd be. Let me open up this box here. So, this is what I got. This is from Benny, and I've ripped off my address and all. As you can see, it's actually Tenacious Toys. I hope you can see that, but I honestly haven't a clue what's in here. Benny sent this out of his kindness of his heart. Again, Benny owns and runs Tenacious Toys, which is a nice, actually honest and sincere company. Been around for a long time. This box, if you order something from him, I can tell you for sure, this thing is really wrapped well. I mean, it's almost like a glass medical supply. Let me see what's in here, because I'm really interested to see this. We're just going to throw the packing material on the floor. We're going to get this out of the box here. I do like toys. I do sell toys. Whatever this is not going to be sold. You're going to see me open it. It's going to be sitting around here, whatever it is. Boy, he really wrapped this. And it still goes. It's obviously a toy. Oh. There we go. That's awesome. In fact, let's take this out of the box right now. It's Nightmare Before Christmas, and it's a Funko Pop. So if you like Funko Pops, let me get it out of the box. That's pretty awesome. I don't know if anybody else likes Nightmare Before Christmas, but I worked, and I guess he heard me say that on the show. I worked at Disney when this came out, and I have fond memories of actually getting to meet Tim Burton and play with the actual maquettes and the sets and the masks. The neatest part was playing with the sets for me. Wasn't as cool for the actual figures so much because I couldn't move them around and play with them that way. I got to hold them. I didn't get to play with the joints because they're fragile and they'll fall apart after a while. So, but I did get to play with and pick up and look at and see where the doors opened up so they can work on the sets and all that stuff. It was probably one of the neatest experiences of being involved in, you know, something that's in the movies that I can say. And I've been in some TV shows here and there. You can see me in the distance shot in an episode of Roseanne, and Full House is the other one. I was working at the park when that happened, and you can see my head and my face in like 2 shots. Not that that's any big deal, but I mean, I've done stuff. We used to be in audiences when we worked there, because you get to get paid sometimes to do that. You could be screaming fans, and they'd pay you just to sit there and scream in the audience, or scream when events were going on and stuff like that at Disney. I did that even when I was a manager. So this is awesome. Benny, if you're watching, man, this is awesome. This is going to go up on my desk in my shelf for good. I'm going to just discard the box. I have no intention on selling this. So if somebody gives you something like this, I would never take that as a profit for me. Just like if I send somebody something, I would expect them to keep it and not sell it. But you do what you do. But this is pretty awesome. Again, I thank him if he's on here. If you haven't checked out his site, again, I'm not getting anything from Benny. This wasn't any worked out deal. This is just something he did. The wife's going to love this, I'm telling you. We only have a few Funko Pops, so I'm not a big toy collector these days, but I do have some Nightmare Before Christmas stuff, honestly. I've got like the teapots and stuff like that too. Lunchbox had a bunch of clearance, which I did call out if you caught that one. That's awesome. I'm going to set that right here. Again, I'm going to have to send him something else too. So anyway, you see what's in the box. So no big thrill to some folks because you're not toy guys. But for me, that's pretty awesome here. It's still setting in vision. So let's see here. Yeah, I promise you, I'm not putting any subliminal images into anything. Yeah, and Galaxy 5000, somebody else told me that on there. I wish I could go back and find the video, but the intro, my title screen to my page is the same one I've used since the very first day I started it. I have not changed a single solitary speck on that clip. It is the exact same clip that I just reuse over and over and over and over again. So if one video has some glitches in it, they all should have that glitch in it. So it's some YouTube issue. It's just got to be. It's the only thing I can think of. Let's go down here and get some questions. Fun part's over. I'm happy about that anyway. Let's see here. I see the occasional popping up. Didn't think it was intentional, but you guys at least. Yeah, it's not by us at all, John. I used to make a ton of stuff for my retail shop. Would love to see the professor's take on making. I love trains too. I have shown some in my Patreon group as well too. So just FYI, I've given out some areas where we've made some good money in homemades, where you can make multiples of one of a kinds technically. And I'm not trying to get you to sign up on my Patreon. I'm happy to have you. It does support the channel, but I don't show everything here, and that's part of the reason why I thought I would do another channel. I'm still going back. There's no definitive answer on that one yet. I will probably do a survey, though. In fact, let me write down do survey. I don't want to lose anybody because they think I'm doing something off. Let me just get that down here. Again, if you ever need something or you're doing something, always keep notes of everything. Take a note for everything you can think of. It's your channel. Yeah, I know it's my channel. I just don't want... I want to stay true to what this is, and I didn't want to veer off and do all kinds of other oddball content. We do a lot of crazy stuff, and a lot of it can make you money, but people aren't into it all the time, I guess I could say. And I don't want to lose subscribers or viewership because I strayed from what I am, you know. I am a crafty and a guy who makes stuff too, but you guys just usually see this aspect of it, so... let me see where we're at. Sounds like a data glitch. It happens when you export with slow CPU or RAM. No, I would say that's not the case in this. We're using the Optane to do the last couple uploads, and that one has 20 gigabytes of RAM now, and then 16 of Optane memory, 16 gigabytes, and then it has a terabyte drive with the it's not SSD drive, but the Optane turns it into one. So I don't see it's any of my hardware at all, because it's done it with two different laptops. The first time somebody called it out and said that, what are you doing with Sublime? It was the old laptop. So, and that one has 16 gigabytes of hard drive or of RAM on that one. And they're quad, you know, not the latest version, but they're all a year or two old at the most. We started upping what we buy nowadays. I buy a newer version and spend more money on them nowadays just because of the speed factor. Let's get to some more questions. I'll probably run it a little late. The wife's sick, so I've got, you know, a free evening here for a little while. So we'll probably run till 9 if we've still got a bunch of people interested in hearing me yap. So if you haven't hit the like button, go ahead and please hit that like button. Let me know that you enjoy the conversation here as well. His intro music does mesmerize my kids every time they stop dead in the tracks. Yeah, I picked something. It's not unique, but I'm good at editing. And sometimes you'll hear some of the ending sounds to my videos. And it's actually two different songs or soundtracks put together on the new endings that I have. Just FYI, I use another editing program for sound. Because we're doing some animation here. In the beginning of Thursday's shows, if this week wasn't so hectic, you'd probably see a little bit of it in there. Because we are going to be adding some other stuff into here. And I've got some other projects going along too. I've got a pack video Another pack video. I've got a storage video as well that's sitting here, and some other ones too. Have the person record themselves watching the video to prove it. If you're talking about watching the video from my end to show that the glitches aren't in there, or to prove that the video's messed up, I'm not sure on which you want on that, Aaron. But I can promise you that my video does not have it here. I looked frame by frame. I mean, I can't get any closer than that. Okay, Duncan, no more spiders today. You're making me almost itch. Hang on, let me slop down here. Put subliminal imagery in next video. No, I'm not. I'm going to try to avoid it. I'm going to try and figure that out anyway, too. And no, it's not aliens. Hey, Big Thrift, how are you doing? If you got anything going on with that project, let me know, too, Big Thrift. Just waiting to see if you're willing to take it any farther on that, too. Not to call you out or anything. Galaxy 5000, Emma Willard, Magic Lantern info. Where we at? Hey, Sue. Cato Creek's calling out. Big Drift calling out. Let me slide down here. No, it's not a Taco Bell commercial. Hang on here. Where are we at? Yeah, I guess I'm passing it down there, Rick. I guess you could say that. Yeah, I'm not a well, I guess I love Taco Bell, but it doesn't love me. I can't have cheese, so that's my biggest beef. We can't go to many Mexican restaurants anymore because everything that I like has cheese, and it's just not good without cheese. You guys had to talk about Taco Bell. I can't eat cheese since the spider bite. Just that's part of my pancreas and digestive system, and some of the enzymes I don't have anymore. It's pretty much killed part of my system, the spider bite, because it's basically poison in your system. So I can't eat cheese, and cheese is one of my favorite food groups. So it's nerve wracking. I mean, it's like the worst nerve wracking you can ever imagine, not being able to eat dairy when you love dairy and it's like your favorite thing. Let's see here. Do you sell shoes? A lot easier to list. I can't get clothing at all, Maricac 7. Pretty much around here, there's no good source. There isn't a thrift store in my area that has clothing that they haven't already checked out and sent either online or that they haven't sent to their own boutique or something like that, high-end boutique. The Sabres are closed. Both of my Sabres went under the same day they closed. And then Goodwill and Salvation Army scan everything. I have no source for any of that stuff at all. So just FYI. Well, thank you, Rick Duke. I appreciate that. Thanks for the $10 super chat. Again, this goes to help support the channel. I don't sell any services to you. I do have, a paid Patreon, but I'm offering you content. I'm not promising you the world. I'm just giving you content to help support what I do here. So, everything goes back into here. We invest a lot into this. There's a lot of time. A 20-minute video takes more than an hour to, edit and get ready and all this other stuff. And that's not counting rendering time and upload time either, or my thumbnails or anything else like that. So anyway, thanks again, Rick. I do appreciate that very kindly. Let's see here. No more Taco Bell talk. Duncan's listing and listening to the show. Yeah, I sometimes when Scott's out or something, I'll have that playing in the background. I honestly don't get a chance to listen to too many people anymore these days, honestly. When I'm rocking with getting listings done, I've got either one of my nice headphones on and I'm just blaring something in my ears, music-wise these days. I'm motivated now, so sometimes I've got something really heavy on. I had South to Heaven on, if you know what that is, by Slayer. And I was cranking that. And, yesterday it was old school Montel Jordan, and This Is How We Do It was like the first song rolling off there. Gin and Juice was number 2 on that list. And then it was Push It. And then what's the other one that was right after that? Apple Bottom Jeans. I mean, that's the first 4 rolling off there. I had them cranked all the way up to 9, and that's how I rock out when I list. I'm just in my groove and I'm just doing my thing. Anyway. Sue, wow, always go with your gut. Yeah, I'm going with my gut on everything that's going on these days. Stuff has been going so well. Cross my fingers, you know. Anyway, if my monitor operates at a higher frequency rate than the original video, it's possible to embed them undetected. Yeah, I would imagine it is. I've looked at some of the frequencies that some of these actual technical. My son's working on something now with his provisional patent, and that plays a little bit into this. So he's educated me on stuff that I hadn't a clue on, honestly. Let's see here. My feed just dropped. Hang on, let me figure out where I'm at. I hate YouTube. I hate YouTube some days. Yeah, I'm totally my feeds just died on me again. Let me try and figure out where we're at. Yeah, hang on, folks. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think I'm way off. I hate when this happens, folks. I apologize. I'm gonna try and get to some questions now. We'll talk questions right now mostly. As soon as I can find where I was at. Okay, I actually found it. Surprise, surprise. No one here shares your videos because we want to keep you to ourselves. Well, I appreciate that. And thank you, Chris, as well. JB, your videos are the most interesting out there. They really expand my knowledge so great. Well, I push out what I talk about. I only put videos out about stuff I honestly know and sell. I'm not going to make up a video or try to produce something on something I haven't a clue on because I would look stupid. So I'm not a sports person, so you won't see that. There's a couple areas that I will never cover on YouTube, though. I only am going to cover like stamps because I've had that question only in Patreon. It's something that I still collect myself and mess with, and I do make a lot of money. And that is a big area where I'm not going to openly share that information. There's another category, too, which I won't discuss either. But anyway. I love Charlie Brown. The Christmas episode was my favorite. I like the Christmas one, too. Episode-wise, that's literally about the best of them. Those two, I think. They're the Christmas and then the Halloween ones. Yeah, and Chris is talking about, see, that's how far back I am. The voice of the adults in Charlie Brown, it's saying that you don't listen to your parents. It doesn't matter what your parents are saying. I thought that was neat how they worked that into there. Nevermore. How common is it to find a high dollar postcard? Depends on what you consider high dollar. We've sold a postcard for $1,000 before. I've sold many postcards for say $250 to say $500, and I mean many. Probably a couple hundred, maybe in that price range. In all honesty, once a week I get a postcard that probably sells for $100. Average decent price for a postcard that I get probably throughout the week is probably on average 25 to say 35 bucks is the average decent card. Of course, I get some in the $50, $60, $70 range, but I guess that's the breakdown here. 1,000 is the most I've ever sold a postcard for. Once. It's the only one time. But again, I've sold hundreds of, cards up into the hundreds, though, before that. Yeah, you're going to be ordering lunch. Duncan is in Australia, which is on the other side of the globe. My local flea market here's Galaxy 5000 has hundreds of vintage postcards, always $1 a piece. Most postcards I pay $1 a piece. You're going to have to be careful at a flea market, though. I would look through them very closely. Be cautious. It's a hit or miss on what you're going to find there. I know where to go in my local area and which dealers and which malls are postcard people that just dump them out there for $1 a piece. Now, in some of the antique malls, you might pay $2, $3, $4, $5. Some of them I have them priced up at what they go for on eBay, mind you. I pass those people by. There are some places, though, that I drive, and I will drive 45 minutes one way to get to a specific store that I know is going to be putting cards out. I get calls on some of these, too. I've talked to some of the vendors who sell postcards, and, sometimes I'll get a call, at least to know that they're putting them out on this day, or I'll meet you there and you can look through them before I stick them out on the shelf or something, or box them up for you. So I'm into those type of deals all the time. I said I wasn't going to buy any more Source, but, we still do, unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess. Let's see here. Annie, I don't know what it says about me, but my favorite peanut was always Pigpen. Nothing wrong with that. It's the character. It's the atmosphere of the character as well, too. Pigpen always had a swirl of... Hang on, folks, just one second here. I hate to answer this because I don't usually do it. Hang on just one second here. Okay, sorry about that. My son just stepped out for a few minutes. Let's see here. Nothing wrong again with that character. I live 5 minutes from Snoopy Ice Rink and Museum. Met Charles Schultz 25 years ago. He yelled at me. Can't you see I'm eating lunch with my wife? Yeah, I can get that in some extent. You know, we've met a lot of famous people working at Disney, and some of them are really rude, crude. Just because they're famous or they're in a movie or something, they're nobody special in any way, shape, or form. You know, they can be pardon me, a nasty person just as easily as anybody else. I've met some that were just rude and talked down to us like we were nothing when I worked at Disney. I'm not going to name any names, but I've met a lot of famous people. We interacted because where we worked was where all of them come in at. They're changing the trailers were right outside where we were at. So I worked in the studio catering area as well too. So yeah, postcards are super easy to ship. I've got tons of video you can watch on shipping those. I can ship a ton in like no time. He's got a Snoopy Bank sealed. Yes, that would still sell since it's in the cello. Hey, Kent, how are you doing? Yeah, Scott's talking about telling new sellers to start small. Start with cards. Scott's got a good channel, too, if you haven't checked him out there, too. Scott's Evilos. He's got actually 2 channels. He's been around for a long time. Did I say Scott? Chris. I'm so sorry if I said Scott. My brain's like, long day here. Chris of Thrift Shop Hustler, if I said the wrong word. How you doing, Dave the Wave? I started flipping NES. This is Galaxy 5000. Got top rated quick. I'm sure that's supposed to be top rated there. Too much competition except vintage jerseys and team sports jackets. If you're talking about clothing, yes, that is definitely the case. Yeah, we've sold a lot of NES games too. I haven't seen a huge lot in years though. Once before we got a huge NES lot of like 560 games, and I think we spent like $200 on everything, and it had everything, and I do mean everything that came with it. Elizabeth, if you're talking about the Funko, you can go to Benny's site. In fact, I have a link in the actual description and in the, I think, comment section for Benny's Tenacious Toys. I know he's got a Spider-Man just like that, I would say. I saw this on his site. I didn't know this was what I was getting, but I've seen this one before. I do check out his site to see what's going to be hot and what's going on. I do like designer toys. We are creating some of our own, so... Let me see. Yeah, I don't see NES games hardly ever. Same local area as you, Jim Sophia G. Agree 100% on thrift stores or lack thereof. Do you almost 100% auction both live and online? At least one every day. Do you hit up local auctions? Yes, I do, but mostly I've got pickers, people at these auctions for me because they go for other people and they'll like buy tools for one guy and this type of item for another guy, and then I'll get the first dibs on certain other items. And I've got pickers. I between what I get to and 8 people before me, I probably get to 15 or 20 auctions a week. Not personally, but I get to get the best, or at least the best accessible stuff from about that many auctions every week. In high season, it might be even more than that. I'll get calls from pickers constantly, and my picker calls are starting to increase now. Probably the reason I actually went out, because I don't want to have people thinking I'm not going to come out. As I said, I wasn't going to pick. If you say you're not going to pick and you tell a picker I'm not picking now, they may call a bunch of other people, and you may lose your first dibs status. So that's part of the reason I went to do a pick the other day. And I made a ton of money, and I mean a ton of money, so I can't really complain. But let's see here. Are you making your own Shopify store, or did you hire some? I'm going to make my own. I've got an IT degree. I don't know what all is involved in the whole Shopify aspect of it, but I have a full-fledged 2-year IT degree. I've got an A+, Net+, Safety+, Microsoft Cert. I've got a server. I've got a network degree, basically. System administration and network. Was it system design and administration and network administration? I think is. I'm mixing up the title of it, but it's on the wall. It's on the wall here. I think you can see it in one of my videos, even my diploma. Let's see here. Yeah, that's what your child has to go through with this if it gets to that stage, creative business. So I'm going to move on from that topic here, not to be rude. Age, if you're talking about age of my son, my youngest son is, he just turned 17. Moronic pest, that's exactly what I did. Got a chemical engineering degree and then worked for R&D chemist. That's exactly what he wants to do. He already works with Dana. He was on the robotics team, and they do have some chemistry that they do. They already offered to, they would have taken him as an intern, but he could have ended up actually being in another country, possibly, believe it or not. So, howdy, David. Let me skip down. Let's get to some questions here. I'm not going to try and be rude and skip anybody. Let's get to some questions here. Just click riches. Yeah, if you're talking about the Jack Skellington, I'd almost guarantee you it's a limited edition one here too. I'm not worried about looking it up. I'm going to literally keep it. I don't sell gifts like this, honestly. I think that's kind of rude, personally. I love this, though. That's awesome. My wife does have a few, too. She's going to love this, I promise you. You'll hear her talking about it. It's probably going to sit on my desk, though. She won't get to claim it. Well, I don't know. She probably will get to claim it, honestly, but that's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I did get to meet Tim Burton in all honesty, and I got to literally sit there and talk with him. I loved his jacket. I have to say that's the first thing I saw. He had a real cool leather jacket on, which wasn't tails or anything, but it was a long, not even a trench coat. It was like a half-length trench coat of some sort. It was really awesome. I mean, that's the first thing I recognized. I didn't even realize it was him. I saw the jacket, believe it or not. And then when I saw it was him, I'm like, oh my God. But we did that, and we did the premiere for Dick Tracy when Dick Tracy came out. Madonna didn't show up. Warren Beatty did, so we got to see Warren Beatty. But, I love doing that. We always volunteered for any of those functions that we could, anytime. And if they had some film shoot or something, I volunteered for the film shoot. There's a couple times where we got actually a paycheck even as an extra, basically. We had our card and everything in Florida. So let's see here. Yeah, Benny's very cool, as Chris says. I didn't know Benny till recently, but he's the bomb when it comes to toys and stuff. Let's see here. Yeah, I know I'm still far off. My feed's like all over the place, though. Yeah, limited edition is everything. My toy lines, we're hoping to get to that point where we can produce them in quantity of a couple thousand. Have somebody do it, because it's a tedious task when you're painting up 20 like trilobite dioramas or something like that, or my clown, because I had to pour some more clowns. They're live now online for sale now, and we've got a second site coming online. So our toys are going to be on hopefully 5 or 6 sites in the next, say, 4 or 5 months, I'm thinking. Well, thank you, South London Reseller. Yeah, Galaxy 5000, take notes. Take a pad in there. Know what's going on and know what they do ahead of time before you get in the office with them, though, too. I take notes everywhere. I literally, and I look up everybody's ranking. I look up Better Business Bureau. I look up police reports. When I picked our accountant, I looked up everything I could find out. I even looked up for criminal records, court cases, or anything like that. It's worth paying for it if you're going to be in business with somebody. I promise you. Yeah, Junking Data Girl. That's exactly what I was thinking, but... For the reason I thought about keeping it on here originally was because it's all stuff I sell online in the same sites that I do. I sell the stuff we make and have made and discussed in Patreon on eBay, Etsy, and on Amazon. So it's stuff that you can resell, and it's stuff that anybody can resell or do or make or produce for the most part. And it's all kinds of just crazy stuff. I do figures as well, too. I've shown some of them. Maybe I'll put another video here because I've had several people ask on showing some more of that kind of stuff. I don't promote my artwork stuff very much on here. You don't see that. I don't want to steer people away from the channel. Let me go down here. Yeah, I heard your story too on that too, Chris. I know I'm behind, so I'm trying to catch up to questions. Yeah, and I don't watch too much YouTube. That is definitely correct. There we go again. The feed's bounced again. Yeah, I love cheese, and I cannot eat cheese. Yeah, I'm a gin person, so gin and juice. I like the song. I'm old school person. Old school rap and old school R&B is good. I don't listen to hardly any of the new stuff like that, nor do I listen to most any new music, honestly. I guess I'm stuck in the past. 80s heavy metal hair band, because I had hair down to my waist back then, or 90s alternative, or 80s and 90s hip hop. Even 60s music I listen to, too. I like some of the garage rock from the 60s. Let's see here. No, I'm not the crazy card kidding you on Slayer. We used to go to Sportstown Billiard in Orlando. It was on, I think, Orange Drive. Anybody from Florida might know where I'm talking about. It's past Church Street Station. And on the jukebox, when you walk into this pool hall, it's a pretty big pool hall. We've taken people there for, like bachelor parties and stuff. And then obviously the usual stuff we went after that. But we had our own area, our own table. They had little benches like bleacher seats over there. And that's the first song we played when the first drink hit the table was South of Heaven by Slayer. The wife was there. It was me and the wife. That's what we listened to. It was free pool from on weekdays 4 to 6. And we usually played pool and, hung out there, usually on Friday nights, because there would be sometimes 15 or 20 Disney people all hanging out there playing pool. And sometimes it was even more than that. Sometimes we had the whole corner section out there. But I'm sure it would help if you knew what I'm talking about. But at work, I'll sometimes see someone pay with a PayPal card and ask them if they are a reseller, and they usually are, and have a good convo about our finds. Yeah, I don't discuss selling too much at all out in public, honestly. Unless somebody asks, I don't steer away from it, but that's only it's just me. Hey Lex, how are you doing? And right below I got Disney Family 515. How are you doing as well? Air Force One 1968 artifacts playing. VP Humphrey cufflinks necklace. You can post some pictures. I can't picture what you're talking about there. I guess there's too many words to figure out, and I'm probably a little bit slow from being up and working hard all day. Color Your Live. Yeah, I remember those days. Yeah, the music boxes, the Christmas ones that all play together, those go for some decent money. I've sold a bunch of those. Yeah, I can believe you. I've heard stories of people working for movie stars and you couldn't even look at them. My wife, some of them are nice. I don't remember the name. Maybe Kelly Preston, Travolta's wife. My wife got to actually carry the camera, and she videoed for them for some event when she was a vacation planner, or what's it called, guest services or guest relations she was. So at Disney, she got to do stuff like that quite often. Just what she did. Let's see where we're at. Let's get to some questions here. Hey Scott, how are you doing? Yeah, rolling in my 64. Yeah, my feed's locked. Where are we at? Rick Duke loves the same music. Playing cards, sorry. I played Slayer Raining Blood as part of my music school graduation 25 years ago. Oh, that's kind of funny. I had some issues here since we haven't addressed these. I don't know if my feed's gone, or I actually finally hit the bottom for once, or I could have missed a huge chunk in the middle here. Yeah, I tried popping it. Yeah, I guess I did miss a whole bunch of questions. Yeah, I guess my feed's just awful today. Yeah, my feed's awful. Let's see here. I had some questions here. Okay, here's a question. Here's a question I've gotten many times. In fact, it came up today, and it's on my notes here. What's the biggest mistake I've ever made on reselling? I've been lucky enough that I've done this for a very long time and haven't had too many monetary mistakes. My biggest actual mistake that really cost me the most was actually not bidding stuff up and marking locations when I first started doing this. I wouldn't be in the boat that I'm in now with having to fix these two if things were a little different. We first started just threw out listings and just put them in a box. I didn't worry about cards, where they went. I didn't worry about how to find them. I didn't think about it. I wasn't worried about it. At the time, I just graduated from college, didn't find a job. We were just trying to get some money in. And we got up to like 1,000 listings and realized, how the heck are we going to sit here and look through all these different items and stuff and figure out where they're at? We didn't label or mark anything. That is honestly my biggest mistake, is when we first started, we were so disorganized. I had done eBay for a long time, but I never had, thousands of listings up at a time. It wasn't the way. It used to be all auctions, and, everything switched where you don't really want to do auctions for the most part. So we didn't mark everything. I didn't bin everything. So even still to this day, I have some items that are like lump sum that we had to sort out by states. Like the postcard wise, we had to sort them by states and some by cities so I could find them. And we spent hours resorting and all this stuff. The biggest mistake was the storage. So the number one thing, once you get past all the other stuff and you're finally listing your stuff online, is to make sure you start a storage bin system immediately from day one if you want to do this for a living. I've seen so many people, even longtime sellers, who are taking dings on their account for missed or lost items, or missing this or missing that, and they're now paying the fee, and they're getting disgruntled, and they just want to drop off on eBay and blame it all on eBay. I can see why eBay does an increased fee if you have bad service. I can see that. I know it's hard to explain to somebody who doesn't have the customer service experience, but customer service is number one. And if you're letting down enough people that you're getting dinged for it to that extent, you need to beef up your business, your customer skill way and forming. I mean, you gotta address that, and most people don't seem to be able to do that, and that's the biggest issue that I see on stuff like that here. Hang on, my son's texting again. My son's taking guitar, and he is out with a friend. So anyway, let me pass that on by. Evening, Chris. Hang on, let's get to a few more. Looks like we got a few more. Okay. But anyway, so storage-wise here, let me get to a few more questions here too. Let's see here. Tomorrow's video coming up is going to be addressing an issue. I don't want to give too much away, but I got some more messages. And eBay is going after other things and other people that are breaking the rules in many other ways now. I got 2 in the last day about the same issue, and that's the topic tomorrow. This is something that can get these guys kicked off of eBay very quickly, and it's something that most people don't even realize. I'm not going to call it out today. It's going to be up. The video's already done. It's already edited. I will up it up first thing in the morning. It'll probably be up before noon. And it's one that you should watch. And again, I'm not just trying to push it, but eBay is going after a lot of these people who are breaking the rules now. And this is just a perfect example of it. Again, watch the video tomorrow. As I said, it's already done. If you're in my Patreon group, I just posted a Patreon video right before I went live today as well, too. That's literally I was wrapping up just before I hit the live button. So if you're in Patreon, you will actually have a video up there as well, too. PayPal fees, I did discuss on that, too. Just roughly over that. We're going to probably do the new payment system on one of our stores to give it a try and see how it works. So that is that. Storage-wise, again, I talked about that. eBay changes going on. Now, I've had several videos on the changes, and I've looked at a couple other sites. So I will have another video up on potential issues that will be going up locally here for U.S. eBay. So just keep that in mind, too, if you're interested in that. Let's see, here's Dan. Do you think it's useful to pre-package items when you list them? I don't pre-package anything in case you have to look at something or somebody has a question. That would mean you'd have to open it. I never pre-package anything. And then if you're using all that material too, you may not need it. It's more cost into your storage. Now, we store some things wrapped in plastic. It's things that we've taken a bunch of pictures and there's not much of a chance in somebody needing any other information other than maybe a measurement which we can do through the plastic. So most fragile items I do tape shut, not packaging them, but they're in plastic. Like an action figure will be sealed in a little baggie or something like that. I order custom bags for jewelry. Those are all in bags. And like anything we list, basically is in something. Like the jewelry wise, it's in little tiny actual bags, and each bag is numbered, and each bag goes in a certain numbered bin on top of it, so we can tell where every single item is. When you have 60,000 items, it's a huge difference than having just a couple hundred, or even 1,000 can be daunting if you're not up on storage and how to do storage properly. So Duncan, I'm mistaken, my first year was I ran out of stock too fast. I didn't plan ahead. Didn't think I'd have that many buyers. Nowadays I plan ahead. Yeah, I plan ahead too. We got skunked out one year for Christmas. We sold out way too early. I didn't order enough for wholesale deals. That's where I make most of my money on, is Christmas wholesale and stuff like that. So if you don't plan ahead and think and estimate, you could be screwed. Obviously you could over order and then screw yourself in another way, but you know. Dan, yeah, my son's taking guitar lessons now. If you belong to your Patreon group, Yvette, is there anywhere to ask questions? Yeah, there's a community page, and you're welcome to email, and you can also post just like on Facebook or something right below the video. I ran into an issue the other day where comments that were so old, or when I had like some of the videos have like 20 and 30 comments on them, that, you know, because I'll answer everything on there, and some of the older comments disappeared, and it's a known glitch. I've found it on Reddit. So the community page seems to be safe. You can actually post a photo on the Patreon community page, and I can look at it and give you descriptions there. I don't check Facebook as much as I used to anymore these days, just because of time. But Patreon, I do check at least every other day at the very latest. And I answer everything on there very exclusively. Or if you have questions, every week I'll do one video on Patreon is just questions and answers, where I answer every one of the questions I get from everybody in the group. Is in much detail as I needed to make it, you know, obviously explained correctly. And then the next video is a bolo, a very specific and exclusive bolos on things that I actually find more often. They're not going to be the super high dollar ones, but it's going to be bread and butter stuff that you're definitely going to find some of. That's the videos that I do these days. I've started off and learned from doing Patreon, processes and stuff. So this seems to be the best choice for those with Patreon, that I do everybody's questions on one video, and then another one I have on the bolo. Next week's video for Patreon, the first video of next week's going to address like repairing certain items and ways to improve the quality of certain items as well too. So yeah, I got you on the Patreon there. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't pre-pack. I seal them in plastic if they're fragile, but I won't pre-pack anything until it sells. Again, because that's just, I've got so many items. I wouldn't want to have to worry about storing stuff in a package. My cards all are wrapped in cardboard, and then they go in poly bags. So I'd have just bags and stuff everywhere. Wouldn't be practical. Not with 60,000 items. Yeah, all of our stuff is in totes or bins. Everything's labeled with a number and a sort system as well. Am I into or knowledgeable on fabrics? Some of them I am. I've got a video actually I just put out on that. I'm going to have to cut it here. We are almost up to the hour mark, and I'm going to probably have to go out and do something for my son in just a little while here. So, and that looks like it's about it for today. I actually got to the end for once, so I do appreciate everybody coming on today. Again, I've already got a video for tomorrow. There's a bolo already done for Saturday. I think it was Charles who asked on the Christmas ornament one. I'm still, again, I don't want to distract from the channel itself, so It may just go up on another channel. Maybe I'll just put up 8 videos all on the same day on the other channel. So for those of you who are interested, I will probably do a survey, though, as I said on here, because you have the survey option here on YouTube as well. And we'll just go from there. So hopefully everybody had a good show tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you haven't hit that like button, please hit that like button for me. At least show the love in the channel. So again, wife should be back next week. She was sick. She has a upper respiratory infection. She's on her 2nd day of meds. So again, I appreciate everybody on tonight. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Hit that button there down for the like button if you would too.